Innovate, Generative AI and Data 2025 starts now. Please welcome your host and MC for today, Ben Schreiner, Head of AI and Modern Data Strategy Business Development at AWS.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're live from New York, but it's not Saturday night. Thank you for indulging me in a childhood fantasy to be live in New York and welcoming you to this amazing event. We have a wonderful in-person audience, as well as thousands streaming on our live event platform, as well as AWS's social media platform. So we're super excited that you're here with us and that you've chosen to spend your time with us today. So for those on the online platform, you have a tab that says Ask an Expert. Please use that liberally to ask us any questions. For those of you in the room, you don't need to click on anybody. They're at your table. So the AWS expert is at your table. Please identify them. There's also a chat feature for those online. Please ask us questions as we go. And for those in the room, we'll be having lots of dialogue with you throughout the day. There are surveys after each session. We are a data-driven company. We value your feedback. It's how we make these events, improve on these events every time we do them, including this is the first time having a live component in person to AWS Innovate. So we're super excited for this event. So who here remembers when the internet had a distinct sound? Just quick show of hands. For those online, you've got emojis that you can use to let us know that you are participating. So everybody remembers that sound. I think most of you probably just heard that sound in your head. So you remember how patient we were for those initial websites to show up, and it was amazing. Fast forward 30 years, and now while you're in a rideshare, streaming your favorite video, what's your tolerance for buffering? Mine's 0. Thank you for raising your hand and whopping 0. Mine too. So as consumers of technology, our expectations have grown immensely over the last 3 decades. And the AI era has the potential to transform every industry, every consumer interaction, and probably faster than the internet changed how we buy things and how we get our information. It is truly an exciting time to be a leader and to be partnering with AWS to make those things happen. So a quick show of hands, who here and in the audience online is using AI personally? So raise your hands in here, and then online, please blow up the emojis. Okay, just about everybody, great. I didn't ask it the other way because I didn't want to single you out as not using AI. We encourage everyone to be leveraging and learning how to use this technology. All right, so you're using it personally. Who's using it in production in their company today? So again, show of hands. Wow, outstanding. I can tell you I asked the same question at an event last year, and not nearly the same number of hands went up. So you all, congratulations, are now in the majority because you personally, as well as your company, are participating in this transformation. But I know something. You're here. You're here to learn more, because this technology is changing faster than anything I've ever seen in my technology career. Does everybody agree it's changing faster now than ever before? Again, yes? All right. And anybody who doesn't agree with me, that's who I want to hang out at the happy hour with, because I love the contrarian, and I look forward to that debate. So if we contrast last year to this year, the pace of change is going up. The models are changing, everything's getting better, and you as leaders are challenged with how do you adapt to your changing customer expectations? How do you make your company ready for this next era? So to set your expectations for today, for the online portion of this, the streaming, live streaming, we're gonna have a keynote from my good friend Rahul Pathak, Vice President of Data and AI Go-to-Market here at AWS. He's going to give us a compelling keynote on how to leverage generative AI, how to make data your differentiator, how to act with urgency, but also have a measure of discipline as you go into this brave new world that we're all a part of. After Rahul gives his talk, we are going to come back later and our online friends are going to have access to a myriad of content. I think there's 6 different tracks, 42 sessions that they'll be able to consume, and we're excited for them to be able to engage in all that online content. We'll come back later for a panel discussion with our friends from Deloitte as well as New York Life. And Rahul will join me again for that, where we're going to take online questions as well as your questions. You all have question cards on your table. And for those online, please submit your questions via the chat feature. And without further ado, it is my great privilege and honor to welcome Rahul to the stage for our keynote. Everybody give him a warm round of applause, please.
Thanks, sir. Hey, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm Rahul Pathak. I'm the VP of Data and AI Go-to-Market at AWS. I have to say I'm feeling a little nervous about following Ben, given how great his hair is, but I'm going to do my best. And I'm excited to talk to you about generative AI and what we're seeing and learning from our customers. And so the thing I want to talk about today is not so much about technology and tooling. I want to talk about the mindset that it takes to be successful with generative AI. What it takes to really go from POC to production to driving business value, because I think that's why we're all here. It's why we're all tuned in online. And these ideas are really distilled from tens of thousands of conversations we've had with customers over the past year and a half, and even sooner, and even prior to that. And they really distill the essence of what we see from our customers that are really seeing success getting Gen AI working in production. I know from the hands that were raised, many of you are doing that, and I hope these will be useful to you. They're not really just theoretical concepts. They're practical approaches that I think we're seeing across all of our most successful implementations. So the first one, it sounds very simple, and some of these will be simple, but simple isn't always easy, as we all know. It's really important to work backwards from the business outcome you're trying to drive. So AI is a great tool. That's exciting. It can do remarkable things. But the key is, what is the business outcome? What are the KPIs you're trying to work on? And this is really the first conversation I have with every single customer that I speak with. What are you trying to accomplish? What are the pain points in the business you're trying to address? Where are your employees struggling and wasting time? And then how can AI be used to accelerate getting you to the outcomes that you want? And once you have those business outcomes, you actually then have the ability to rally and drive and put technology to work in a way that you know is going to make a difference for the business. One big part of this is it's really important to create cross-functional teams. Now, we often see folks start work in silos. You've got your domain experts, your scientists, your engineers working separately. The most successful outcomes are when we bring everybody together. So you have folks that have knowledge of the business domain, folks that understand the technology and the science. Getting them together so they can iterate quickly is how you drive to a better outcome. And we've learned this ourselves at Amazon. Amazon Pharmacy is a great example. This is a division within Amazon that's focused on making prescriptions easier and transforming that experience for customers. And what they found was initially they started in silos and they just were not making the progress that they wanted. And we brought everybody together into a cross-functional team that combined all of these functions. And at Amazon, we call these 2 pizza teams. You might have heard this concept, and they're very creatively named because we can feed them with 2 pizzas. And once you've got these folks together, you're actually able to iterate and get to the right outcome and make faster, better decisions. Another piece that's really important, that's very dear to Amazon, we talk about customer obsession, but you really have to work backwards from what your customers need. And this is critical. And the way I talk about this with my teams, with our customers, is it's not just about quantitative information. That data will tell you what's happening in your business. You've actually got to go think about getting some qualitative information. You have to go out and talk to people to understand the why and the underlying trends. And so take, for example, Amazon Bedrock. This is our service for building generative AI applications. As we thought about what customers wanted and talked to them, we knew they'd want model choice. And so we provide a range of models. We knew customers with model choices would want a way to evaluate these models. And so we provide automated model evaluation so you can automatically route a request to the model that's the best fit for the use case. We have ways to integrate these models with your data. And then we have a technique called model distillation to optimize for price and performance. Because when you're operating in production at scale, cost and performance matter tremendously. And so that helped us build a product that our customers really love and that's taking off. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. The other piece that's really important when you're thinking about getting into production, you've got your business outcomes, you've got your customer needs. You need to set up an evaluation framework so you can think about how these use cases are doing. How feasible are they? What's the business impact they're driving? Are there any risks in the use case? How do you plan for that? And then is the company, are all of you and your teams ready to deliver on this? And then once you do this, you're actually able to then get through your use cases quickly, understand what value you're driving, understand the ROI they're bringing to bear, and that lets you keep what's working and double down, and then replace the ones that aren't with better ideas. And so this notion of continuous evaluation is super important. So let's look at how one of our customers is putting this to work. So the NFL has been a customer of ours for a long time, and they're really digging deep into harnessing the power of generative AI. And so if you think about it, they have thousands and thousands of hours of game footage, real time as well as historical. They get millions of data points from players on the field. And the NFL is trying to create an experience with their broadcasters and content creators that's going to resonate with all of us as fans of the game. And often it's things like, hey, I want to find the perfect clip. And this can be like looking for a needle in a haystack. When was the last time a kick was taken in this direction, in these weather conditions, with this score differential? It's something that could take 20 minutes or more to do with a manual process. And what they did was they built on the data foundation they'd created with us. They also have a media asset platform. And combining these two together, they created a product called Playbook Pro, which is a generative AI system that actually understands football terms. So their content creators, their broadcasters can use natural language Q&A and then get exactly what they need out of the system. And so this now took down the time it takes to find these relevant snippets from 20 to 30 minutes to 30 seconds. And that transforms the context that they can create for the viewing audience. And they're just getting started. So we're super excited to double down with them. And it all starts with a great data foundation and then AI on top of that. Excuse me. Right, thank you. So the next pillar, and this is going to also sound simple but crucial, data is your differentiator. So anybody with a credit card can access state-of-the-art AI today. You can put your card in, talk to the best AI in the world. It is not differentiated. It is generic. The data that you have about your business, about your customers, that unique context, combined with state-of-the-art AI, that's how you really differentiate what you're doing. And so this is really key. I spent 13 and a half years at Amazon. I was building data and analytics products. And it's the ability to combine that data about your business with all of the AI innovation that's going to make a difference for your customers. And like most organizations, you've got data on everything. Your data is probably all over the place in the company. Many of you have grown through M&A. All of those companies that you've bought have got their own data systems. You really do need to get an understanding of the data you have and how that data maps to the business outcomes that we talked about, so you don't have to boil the ocean. You do have to understand what's relevant for the KPIs you're trying to drive. And then you need to think about how to bridge those gaps. And once you're dealing with data, data quality is also critical. As you know, many of you have been in this space for a long time. If your data inputs are bad, your data outputs are going to be bad. Garbage in, garbage out definitely applies. And so you need high quality data. You've got to think about how it's fresh, how it's complete, how you're going to govern it. These processes are important. It's something that you have to be thoughtful about as you implement Gen AI use cases. And it's one of the things that we see is the biggest barrier for customers that leaves them stuck in the POC phase. They haven't thought about how they're going to get data connected to AI in a safe and reliable way. And when you're customizing, it really can make a difference to the types of results that you get. There's multiple techniques for customizing with AI. You can customize your prompts by building indexes of your data. This is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. There's the idea of fine-tuning. This is where you can have known good responses and use it to teach the AI how to better respond in the way that's appropriate for your organization. And then you have continuous pre-training. The idea is the model gets smarter over time as it learns more about the world. And the benefits of this are better accuracy, better speed, and then lower costs. And all of these things are things that are going to matter when you're dealing with production scale. Another big thing that comes up and should when you're thinking about data and customization is security. Security is always critical. You really need good security thinking, good governance. You've got to think about encryption, and then you also have to operate in the right regulatory environments that matter, things like GDPR, HIPAA, you've got AI acts in Europe. And it's not just about compliance with regulation, which is critical, but it's also about customer trust. If you're doing the right things on security, your customer trust, that's invaluable. Another inevitability in the world of data is that data volumes continue to grow. And so your data strategy has to keep this in mind. You've got to plan for future growth. You've got to think about implementing some architectures that are scalable, that allow you to take advantage of new techniques, new data processing capabilities as your business needs evolve, as innovation takes place. And so what we talk about with our customers is the importance to really future-proof your data management. You want to think about what can you do to set yourself up for the change that's going to be inevitable, and that way you don't have to re-platform, do a big migration, redo all of the things that you've done in terms of architecture, data governance, as new technology comes into play. And this is something that I've personally worked on with many of our customers. A great example is a company called FINRA. I'm sure many of you are familiar with. I've worked with them personally over 12 years as they transitioned from regulating US equities all on-prem to doing everything in the cloud. We've had 4 or 5 different technology generation changes, and they've been able to make that transition without having to re-platform, just by being forward-thinking on the data side. So something that we highly recommend, we can definitely help out with. Next pillar, this is a quote that I love: discipline equals freedom. This is, it's not my line, it's from Jocko Willink in a book called Extreme Ownership. And the idea here is, it's somewhat paradoxical, but the idea here is that if you have good guardrails, you actually can set the organization free to innovate. And you don't want to be in the middle of this conversation. You don't want to be someone that has to review every use case that your company is thinking about. What you want to do is set the right foundations, set the right paved roads, and then get out of the way so your employees and your teammates can actually innovate and make a difference, and do it in a way that's safe and well understood. And so that discipline equals freedom idea is really critical to enabling AI at scale. And so let's break down why this matters so much to customers. So the first thing to think about when you're thinking about setting these foundations in place is security. Security is a critical issue. It's something that really matters. And the mental model shift that's really important that we encourage all of you, all of our customers to make, is that security isn't a barrier to innovation. It's actually a way to enable. If you can set a confident security foundation, you can actually set teams free. And so it's not about just the layers of controls. You need to build a strong security culture into the organization. And once you can do that, you know that the things you're going to work on will be the right things and will be well protected. And that security culture is something that's deeply embedded at AWS. It's job zero for us. And it's built into every tool that we create. And so when you think about tools like Bedrock, which is designed for inference applications, you have full control over the data that's in the system. Everything is encrypted at rest and in transit. We don't actually log anything in Bedrock. That's up to you to be able to log, so it's all completely private. And then when you're tuning or customizing a model, that's done with a private copy of the model. So any modifications that you make are completely yours. That IP is yours alone. It does not leak back to the model providers. We have no visibility into it. And so it's a way that really allows you to make the most of the tools in a way that's secure, private, and differentiated, and drives competitive advantage for your organizations. And then SageMaker, the next gen of this, is a system that we've designed to allow you to work with all your data in one place. And so you can bring your data together, govern it in one spot with a secure set of governance policies, and do all of the things that you need to do to create data products that can then feed into your AI systems. Another key area when thinking about AI is building responsibly. And again, here you want to make sure that your teams know what it means to think about using AI responsibly. They want to be able to understand what is the risk profile of the use case I have in mind. If I'm trying to interpret something that has significant financial impact, I'm probably going to want to have a human in the loop. If I'm looking to send a customized message on a web page, I might be able to have more confidence in automated scoring for that. And so you have to think about what is the use case, what's the price of being wrong, and then build in the right testing and guardrails so that you're continuously learning and iterating as you're putting these into production. And rigorous testing is key. Got to get into the habit of trying something, having a measurement for it, seeing how it does with that measurement, learning what you can, and then putting that into place, doubling down on what works, and then replacing what doesn't. Something that we built into Bedrock to make this easy is guardrails. So this is a way to implement safeguards, and you can do this by defining policies that apply regardless of the application and regardless of the model. So this is an example of thinking about future-proofing. We wanted you to be able to define what's important for your app, but not have to change it every time you look at it using a different model. And guardrails is also the only capability offered by a major cloud provider that has these truthfulness safeguards built in. It also has a capability called automated reasoning, which is great in regulated spaces. You can provide a policy document, and we use automated reasoning and proof techniques to actually prove that the responses comply with those policies. And so things like insurance or policy planning, we're finding a lot of interest from customers and working with our customers on helping implement these safeguards. And they apply across all models, so you can take advantage of whatever's happening in the industry without having to rebuild your app every time or retune it. Another big area is building intentionally. And so here you want to think about really how you optimize your Gen AI applications. You want to think about having a secure foundation. That means the right tools and the right governance. We've got capabilities for doing things like working with data with SageMaker. We've got state-of-the-art databases in Aurora and DynamoDB. So having that secure foundation, a great capabilities like our Lakehouse to allow you to build a unified future-proof data architecture. These are all critical elements to thinking about how you're going to get your data ready for AI. And this then sets you up to customize. So capabilities in our systems like Bedrock are built in to allow this. We have a built-in knowledge base. This makes it easy to bring in data from your data sources. We have capabilities for data automation, so you can use AI to extract data from unstructured things like scans of applications, images, video, call recording. Something that AI has really enabled us to do is to light up all of that data and make it available for applications. And then with SageMaker AI, you can build, train, customize any type of machine learning model and even state-of-the-art foundation models, all with fully managed workflows and the lowest total cost of training available anywhere. And then finally, you have to choose the right model. So as I'm sure all of you are aware, the pace of model innovation that's happening is remarkable. It seems like every 2-3 weeks there's a headline about a new benchmark, a new major capability. And what we've done with Bedrock is set it up so that it's really easy to take advantage of the latest models. So many of you have probably heard the headlines about DeepSeek. Came out a few weeks ago. That was available in Bedrock within a few days of it being announced. And this makes it easy for you to build in new models into your apps without having to change the bulk of the application. We also have automated evaluation capability and fine-tuning. So the idea here is that you can customize the models for your use cases, and model distillation, where you can really use a large model to train a smaller model to be super specific for your use case. And that translates to lower prices, and it translates to faster performance, which means a more responsive application for your customers at scale. So a great example of one of our customers that's doing this is Trellix. So they're in the security analytics space. They've got a long history in this area, and they really reinvented their products with generative AI. I was chatting with a gentleman today who's a CISO. I'm sure many of you are thinking about security. One of the challenges is you can often overwhelmed by the number of alerts that are coming into your security environment, and you've got to look through them, triage them, figure out how to prioritize. And so we worked with Trellix, and they used Bedrock to actually scale how they were able to do this with their customers. And they were working through how do you make sense of all of these alerts. And so what they did was built a sophisticated application on Bedrock that uses a combination of models. They scan through all of the alerts that are being generated in the organization. They use Anthropic's Claude model, which is one of the best reasoning models out there, to build a complex analysis of that system. And then they use Amazon Nova, which is our first-party models, very low cost, very high performance, to look at all of the alerts and generate root causes for these, and then put together a remediation and root cause analysis for each of the alerts that come into the organization automatically. And so they saw about a 70x to 100x price performance improvement. And then this translated to them putting much more data into the system and getting much more robust results for their customers. And so this has been a real game changer. Their customers come in every day and they get a prioritized list of alerts with remediation instructions and the ability to act if they trust those instructions. So it's a way to build trust in the responses. And these can be generated in about 30 seconds, something that could take 60 to 80 person hours to actually do. So it's a real transformational impact for security teams. And some of our customers are actually finding these write-ups are so good, they're using them to train junior analysts on how to look at triaging these systems. So huge opportunity and a really creative application. We're super excited to be working with them. You know, the final thing I'll talk about, and again, this one is really simple, but you know, the pace of change that's happening right now is exponential. And as humans, it's pretty hard to understand what this means. But it is really critical today to lean in. If you're not leaning in, I really believe you're going to be left behind. And your peers and your customers, they are leaning into this. And the thing about AI is that, look, the benefits are massive. Yes, there are things we need to think about when it comes to responsible use, to security, but it's worth thinking through these because the payoffs are so huge. And you know, those of you who are familiar with security, look, the most secure system is one that's not plugged in and not one connected to the internet. It's also the least useful computer system in the world. It doesn't create any value. And so with AI, it's super important to get started, think about a business outcome that you want to drive, and figure out how to start getting something put into production because it will make a difference. And you don't want to wake up in 18 months and find that you're behind all of your peers because you were too slow to move here. And so in practice, what this means is you need top-down buy-in. You need the organization and the leadership to commit to making something happen. This is where that business KPI matters so much. You want an org-wide strategy. This is, again, key to thinking about how to organize, how to bring the right resources to bear. You have to create a culture and space for experimentation. It's super important to let teams try things. It's okay to fail from time to time. And you have to give people resources and time to go proceed. And that idea of discipline equals freedom, again, just give them resources that provide them a safe sandbox from both access to data and a financial governance perspective, and then let people move. Great example of another customer of ours doing this is Bayer Crop Science, and their goal is to really help small farmers improve crop yields and create better efficiencies in terms of how we're feeding the planet. And they're using generative AI across the organization. I was lucky enough to begin working with them 10 years ago when they started establishing their data foundation. And I love that I still get to innovate with them as they think about putting AI to work. And what they did was really focus on helping smallholder farms optimize water usage and optimize production. And so they use a couple of products, one called Q Business, which is about an AI assistant that sits on enterprise data, and then Q Developer, which is an AI assistant for software developers. And they found 30 to 70% productivity improvements. And that lets their scientists stay away from the muck and focus on really optimizing the outcomes and helping drive more sustainable food production. Amazon is another place that we've really lent into generative AI. We're using it in customer service with chatbots. Our ads business, we're using it all over the place for campaign optimization and creative generation. We use it in our inventory management. At our scale, tiny gains in inventory create a big difference for us. Our robots are using AI to better optimize their routes as they go through our fulfillment centers. Rufus is a shopping assistant that many of you may have interacted with. It actually works great. We're even using it for things like apparel sizing, so we can get a better sense for how things are going to fit, because buying clothes online isn't always the easiest. And we're seeing great customer satisfaction improvements on this side as well. So big lean in from our front. And then one other thing I get asked a lot in my role is, what's the future of Gen AI? What does the future hold? And whenever I get asked this question, I'm reminded of something that Jeff Bezos said, which is, look, it's actually not the right question. The right question is what's not going to be different in the future, because those are the things you can really invest in over the long term. And so if you think about it for the e-commerce business at Amazon, that's cheap prices, fast delivery, and good selection. Customers are always going to want those things. And if we invest in those, we will always be relevant. And so the same idea applies when you're thinking about generative AI investments for the future. And so a few things that I know are going to be true. One is that this rapid pace of model innovation is going to continue. We are seeing models get cheaper, faster, more capable. That is not going to slow down. We've taken this to heart with the tools that we've built and the approach that we've taken. I think all of you, as you put more and more Gen AI to work, need to keep that in mind. There will be step function changes. You want to design in a way that you can adapt and take advantage of the state of the art as it evolves. And to enable that, we've built our own foundation models, the Amazon Nova series. So here we have a set of models that are Amazon first party. We stand behind them. For those of you that are Amazon customers, all of your commercial constructs apply. And then we've got a range of 4 understanding models at different levels of price, performance, and reasoning capability. And then a couple of models for content generation. So Canvas for images, and then Reel for video. The other big piece that I would keep in mind is that Gen AI is going to get more accessible in our day-to-day. It'll be easier to use, and these tools are going to be more pervasive. And so for this, we've built Amazon Q, and Q Business is a super easy way to get generative AI assistance for your business data. So private and secure connections to your data, and then you can have Q&A interfaces to access that. I actually use this every day. We made it available within Amazon to all employees as a browser plugin, which was a huge step forward in terms of adoption. And then Q Developer is an agentic system for creating software applications. So you can actually ask it to create an app that you're interested in. It'll use models to come up with a plan for that application. You can iterate with it on the plan and then have it go create code. So again, really transformational. And it applies across the entire software development lifecycle. New code is about 15% of what developers do. The bulk is on reading, refactoring, and transforming existing code. And we've really designed Q to help with that. Another thing that will be true is that inference, which is generating predictions from generative AI and ML, is going to be a core application building block. Just like compute and storage and database, I think in a few months to probably less than a couple of years, it's going to be hard to imagine apps being built that don't have some inference capability built into them. And recognizing this future, we've been investing heavily in making sure that inference is as low cost and ubiquitous and power efficient as possible. And so we've got our custom silicon with Trainium and Inferentia designed for training and inference. And we also have a custom software stack called Neuron. And the goal here is to make it much easier for you to take advantage of these chips. And Neuron actually plugs into Hugging Face, which is the world's largest open source model hub. So hundreds of thousands of models that are available there can be run on our chips. And the whole goal here is to deliver exceptional price performance for all of you. And so we see up to 30 to 50% improvement with these chips. And that price performance means better apps, lower bills, and more sustainable performance because we use less energy. And so these are all innovations that we're committed to making. Now, I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I do know that if it's something that shows up in the future that matters to you, it's going to be available to you on AWS. We are customer obsessed, and we really want to partner with you in your success. And I would say one thing that's really required to be successful with generative AI is the mindset of learning and being curious. And the fact that you're here today is a testament to that, so thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of Amazon Innovate, and go build something great. Thank you very much.
How about another round of applause for Rahul? What a great job. Super inspiring. Thanks, man. What a great presentation. He covered a lot of ground and teed up the rest of our afternoon. So couldn't be happier with that, and hopefully you enjoyed all of the thought-provoking examples that Rahul gave, as well as the highlights of all the innovations that he and his team and AWS has been up to on your behalf. One of the things I wanted to share with our audience is we're actually coming to you live from the Edison Ballroom, which is serendipitous, if you will, because Mr. Edison was actually a big proponent of collaborative innovation or collaborative research. He had a team of any time from 30 to 60 different assistants helping him innovate, testing thousands of theories before he lit up the New York street very famously. And so for you, I'm hopeful that today, either during your dialogues or for our online friends during your sessions, that you have your own light bulb moments and that you see the opportunity to collaborate with each other, with Amazon and our partner ecosystem to help you do more than maybe even you think is possible. So thank you for watching our keynote. For those online, we have, here we go. We have an agenda tab for you. If you head up there, you'll be able to see the entire schedule of sessions. You can choose your next session and then do the survey after that. And then after each session, go back to that agenda so that you're able to choose your next session and continue through the content. For those of you joining us on AWS social media, what are you waiting for? Please join us on the Innovate live stream event. You can search for that and quickly register and gain access to all the wonderful content that's being provided and the various streams of content that are being provided. All right, last and certainly not least is later today, we'll be live streaming again our panel of wonderful guests. Rahul will join me again. Folks from Deloitte as well as New York Life will join for a panel discussion, real world examples on how they tackled the challenge and how they're harnessing the power of this transformational technology. So very excited for that. Please join us again for that live session after these sessions. And I thank you, and head to your agenda online, folks. And everything that you're doing today. All right, so